the process of building the HS setup again. I heard you're having about 40 metres with John, so you never know. You never know. So I'll get the offset dog leg one wire out and purchase an LDG tuner as well off the chap. But yes, I'm getting it back together again. Seems as if the frequencies and the bands are picking up again Peter, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bert. I didn't intend to break up the contact. I just wanted to quickly let Stuart know before he sets off that his video is upside down. He's got this high definition live streaming video. We're getting real-time virtual tour of the Outer Hebrides when he goes shopping for spam. Because how many technically comes up. So you guys to natter. But yeah, that's 707. I've not seen one of those before, I don't think. God, I was a teenager in 1999, I think. But yeah, it's quite nice looking set that. It almost looks sort of just slightly commercial, like one of their marine sets. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. I can hear myself coming back on the video, which is up the right way now. Over to you, Stuart. G7RPG.
Yeah, okay. It was flashing. I don't know whether it's lined up right. What it is, Bert, this little action cam thing. I've got to put it on this mount on the windscreen upside down, but I set it for just doing normal video recordings. Check the image to see if it was okay, and then just switched it over to live transmission on air, you know. But it was setting it upside down. I tell you what, I can see Orson Welles. It took him a long time. Oh, that's okay. I've got the image now. I'll square it up. I can see Orson Welles. It took him a long time to get you know, to get his Oscar. I don't know whether I'll still be around when I get the Oscar. Bert, go ahead.
You'll have to let me know, are you on WhatsApp or stay on PS or whatever? So I'll go on Footnet, the Facebook page now and again. You'll have to let me know what you're uploading it on. I think it's WhatsApp, Stuart, if you know it.
Keeps going off air. It's on Peter's put a link on Facebook on Hubnet, and it's still relevant now, so if you have a look on Hubnet and click on the link, it should show you what I'm looking at. I'm just experimenting with it, Bert. I do enjoy going out and videoing different things, but then it's an event, you know. You've got to come back, put it on the computer, crunch it down enough so WhatsApp can receive it, and then post it to Peter, and then he's my editor. He evaluates it and decides whether to put it in the trash bin or put it out to the world. Bert, go ahead.
Back end of the weather now, so we've got nothing to go out and, you know, shorts are a no-no, t-shirts are a no-no, unless you're in Portsmouth, of course. So, yeah, as they say, all nights, we'll be experimenting this year. I'm happy that everything's working back in the shack. I can go up and have a cup of tea now. I haven't been back home about 3/4 of an hour. And I've spent half an hour down the workshop. So wash me in the doghouse now. Oh, we regret. She's been in a good mood all week, and that's it. You have left me on my own, have you? Ah, do you? You can't please them all, can you? Run to you, Stuart, and then I'll try the ribbons. And 0OT.
You've got to let them know, let them moan from time to time, Bert, you know, and they can feel important. Just take it on the chin. Just take it on the chin, you know. That's the best thing to do. Take everything on the chin. That's why I don't do any selfies. You think I've had 5 rounds with flipping some boxer, you know. Anyway, I must go. I'm seeing if I can see where I am on this. I don't understand Facebook at all, but I'm running APRS-9, or I will be once I get to the app, and then you'll be able to track me. There's a there's a 20-second delay between the video and where I am literally in the world, so it's just if you're inclined to do that, you know. Cheers for now. We're clear. GM7VC.
Okay, Stuart, no problem. You take care, mate. Lovely talking to you. Yeah, I can take it on the chin. I'll let my beard grow. I'm like the Alaskan people at the moment. That's another thing she's moaned at me. I'll get it off. But it's warm. It's warm. You know, when you've got a good thatch on, you take care, haven't you? But I'm 0OT. Back at the monitoring.
Yeah, with this final GM7VC, I'm trying to see where I am on the flipping APRS. Beacon now. Well, it's getting near Christmas, you know. Tell her, you know, it's a bit of pimp money coming in. You'll have to send me an image of you with your beard. I might decide to come over and sit on your knee a couple of days before Christmas.
Final. Well, I've had one refusal off Sainsbury's already, so the depression's setting in, but no, not yet. Not yet. I've still got a couple more CVs to send out to Stuart over.
I was saying to RPG, the only time I make money with my musher is Halloween night. I get paid about £40 to £50 just to stay indoors during the course of the event, Matthew.
Where's she got to be, Nicolai? I just put a photograph of me on the inside of the window. The kids just don't knock. Even frightened the parents off her, Stuart. Right, I'm going. Behave yourself. I'm 0OT.
Yeah, cheers, Bert. I'll catch you soon. I'll get going myself. GM7VC lurking.
GM7VC 2M0JV. I'm just watching that video, Stuart. Absolutely fantastic picture quality. GM7VC 2M0JVR.
Good afternoon, Victor. I'm using my cell phone. I managed to figure a way. It doesn't accept 5 GHz signal, the camera. So I've configured it when the cell phone's creating its own hotspot. It's a 2.4 GHz. So it's the first time out. And I'm on the Netgear router with the radio. there's about 20-second delay between what you're seeing and then you'll hear my voice. Quite strange. I've been having a lot of problems with reflections from the windscreen, because even with a polarizer the angle's not right, you know, to polarize it out. So it was only £3 odd. It came today like a blackout sheet that you can stitch in, only 1 metre square, so that's laid over the dash. And I'm not seeing any reflections. I don't know whether you are or not on your TV screen, on your monitor. Anyway, I'm nipping over to Balivinich on Benbecula. That's going over the causeways. Not very bright, but I've opened the aperture a bit on the camera to try and give it a bit more light. It's dry, but quite grey. But I thought I'd do a short video on the run to Balivinich over the causeways, so people can see the signs warning you of otters crossing. Victor, back to you, GM7VC.
GM7VC 20GBR. Okay, Stuart, I've had to get on your way there. It looks quite bright actually where you are at the moment. The skies look reasonable, I would think, for the west coast. But do enjoy the journey, Stuart, and I'll keep doing this. Looking at you on full screen on this Samsung monitor on the picture wall there, as I say, is absolutely superb. I'm very, very impressed, Stuart. I think that Oscar will be coming your way very soon. GM7 Virginia. Guess we'll let you go, Stuart.
Yeah, I think APRS is running as well. My English call sign G7VC-9. That's running on the little iPad on the dash. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I've never really looked at Street View, but if you look at Street View and what you're looking on the video, it'll give you an indication of what was here 3 or so years ago to what's here now, QSL. Good afternoon, everybody. Just going over, you probably heard on I was talking on the HubNet, which is a amateur radio network linking stations all over the world. Just going over to Balivinich, that's the middle island. There's a causeway between the islands, and I'm going over to get some bits and pieces to a place called Balivinich. So I go over some causeways which was laid down in the 60s by the army when the Americans were over here, and prior to that they used to wait till the tide went out, and they'd either walk pony and trap across the sands, or in the winter months they were virtually in isolation because of the storms. But we've got causeways across most of the islands now. On the western chain anyway. I don't mean the Isle of Lewis and Harris, I mean the Isle of Hewist. And it's the only place in Scotland I've ever seen it. I've been all over Scotland. There's signs just before the causeway that warn you of beware of otters. And I've been here in the winter months, and you do see the odd otter. You have like small tunnels going through the causeway to allow on the right, we're going over a bit of a causeway now. On the left, you're viewing it, is what I call the inland sea, still Atlantic, but there's no ocean there. And then on the right is the main Atlantic Ocean, and it just runs through like drains under the causeway, and it's quite enjoyable. I've been out on the kayak on the inner seas where you're not troubled with any heavy surf, just to have an adventure. I'm hoping got a little neon light on the camera. I just lost the link. I was just going to say I'm hoping you're getting a good image. We start having a lot of single track roads. The airport at Benbecula's not a very big airport. They have usually 3 flights a day, turboprops, run by Logan Air, and they service Glasgow, Stornoway, and probably over towards the Shetlands. At one time, a few years ago, you could get a regular flight over to Barra. Now Barra is the most southerly island in this chain, which needs a ferry crossing, only a 30-minute crossing. But the airport's on the beach at Barra, B-A-R-R-A, and it's quite awesome. I've walked on it, cycled round Barra, but I've never flown into Barra. But they've stopped that service direct. But they do the service where you leave Benbecula over to Glasgow, and then you get on a little twin-engine Otter, and that takes you back to Barra. So one day, that's definitely on near the top of my to-do list. Anyway, I'll go quiet for a bit and hope you're getting the signal. This is one of the longer causeways. Like I say, on the right is the proper Atlantic Ocean, and on the left is again the Atlantic Ocean, but what I call the Inland Sea. The tide seems to be, I don't know whether it's fully in. Quite an incredible place. In the winter months, when the tide goes out, there's a couple of shallow pools near the rocks where the seaweed kelp, and I've been here quite early in the morning when it's not been quite light, and you see the odd otter. You know, the young pups go after the young nursery fish that are in the seaweed kelp just before the tide completely drains. Got to keep stopping because a lot of the causeway a single track. Oh, he's letting me through. Now on the island of Benbecula. It's quite amazing. They've got fencing set up in places to keep the sheep off the road, but they seem to find a way off. And there's usually a lot of sheep here. And because the residents, more resident than me, you've got to wait for them to decide to walk away. They think it's a walk, just a nice walk on the tarmac, so they won't move for you. And less so the deer when they're around. Taking the right hand fork here to Balivinich, which is a fairly big town. They've got a small hospital here, a school and a few supermarkets, and one of the 3 filling stations on US. I think there's 4 filling stations altogether, all the same price, and it's just started raining. This is McLean's bakery. They do bread and pies, all sorts of things. Benbecula Airport is just on your right, on the right hand side of the road. There's a small, at the end of the runway, there's a small golf course. I think the Americans used to have it for recreation when they were based here. Only small, I think it's 9 holes. I'm not into golf. There's some army units here. First Islanders, mostly cadets, but from time to time you see them moving the army trucks here. They're doing manoeuvres on some of the beaches from time to time. You'll come up to their main barracks. There's a few units here on the edge of the airport supporting what work they can get relating to the airport. Distribution for some of the cargo and service engineers, and obviously, like I say, they've got the barracks there for the First Island Regiment. That upturned pyramid, that water tower, was put in place just past the East Camp barracks for the First Islanders. That was put in place for fire support for the airfield. back in the 60s when the Americans were here. I suppose they still use it, although they would have mains water in case of any incident. I'll just turn on to, not into the airport grounds, it's only a small airfield, but I'll just turn in and show you the beach that's on the head of the, or the foot of the airfield runway. There's a radio am, Victor, who was just chatting to me. He lived over at near Elgin, Pockerby. They lost him out. He used to fly aircraft, and he used to tell me he used to come over here and fly, and to come into the airfield from over the sea, he used to be quite incredible, he was telling me. So I'm just going down this little track. There's a small car park, but an incredible beach at the end of the car park. I often go walking on here. Looking to one side of it now. It goes on for miles. It ties in now. I'll just turn round a bit. The airfield starts just beyond these sand dunes here, not the ones in the far distance, but just round that initial headland. There's signs up, you know, you can't fly kites, things like that, and it's all heavily shaled up to protect the sand. But that's the start of the airfield, and a lot of the time, depending on the wind, you know, a lot of the aircraft fly in from the sea and come onto the airstrip from this side, obviously determined by which direction the wind is. But as you can see, the tide's in virtually, so I'm not going to get my feet wet. Got a fire station here, mainly for the town, but obviously it's a dual use for the emergency services for the airfield. You can see one of the response vehicles parked there. And anybody who's the conversation on HubNet, I've heard WTX and Stuart SNA, both Stuarts actually, talking about the pay and display at Manchester airports. You know, everything is money. I'm just going into the airfield, the perimeter, where you can park, and you'll see it's a different world. It's a different world. It's a load of places where you can park, and you just jump on the plane and go and do your business and come back, and hopefully the vehicle's still there. This is the short stay car park for the airfield, not multi-storey, but I don't think they charge you for a £5 for dropping somebody off at the main terminal. It's quite incredible. Just go over towards the main buildings, just to give you an insight what we've got here. This is the main airport terminal. Let's see if I can show you where the old control tower is. Might not be able to see. Ah, there it is. As long as nobody shouts at me. I don't know whether you can see it through the fence there. That's the old airport terminal. Typical 1960s, when they didn't have television coverage and that. People would go and they'd be using the binoculars to watch for any traffic coming in. This is a long stay car park, so if M0WTX is listening, I'm sure they wouldn't charge you much for parking here, going over to Spain. Probably say just leave your keys over the tyre in the wheel arch and it'll be safe. So that's Benbecula. I'll have a couple of more minutes and then I'll disconnect. I'm just going into the shopping area of the village, or the town I should say. If you can see this lovely looking crofter's cottage. Somebody lives in it throughout the year. Very nice. This is our only filling station on Benbecula. This is my there's about 3 different supermarkets on Benbecula, but this is the one I favour. And it's quite crazy the way they chat to you, as if I've been here for a good many years instead of a good few months.